This video is about subject modifier placement, and if you learn how this works, I guarantee you will save time and improve your score on the digital SAT. Now before we start, I want to give you a little challenge. See if you can solve this digital SAT problem in 5 seconds. Here it comes. You don't need to pause the video. If right now you're thinking,
That's impossible.
stick around to the end and you will be able to do this yourself. My name's John. I'm a perfect scorer on the SAT writing section, 2-time Ivy League grad, and one of America's highest rated tutors. This series is devoted to helping you master the digital SAT. Subject modifier placement is a longtime favorite of the test makers, so let's start by answering the questions of what's a subject and what's a modifier. A subject is the person, place, thing, or idea that the sentence is about, and a modifier is a phrase that provides additional information, in this case about the subject. If you don't place your modifier next to the thing that it's modifying, then the meaning of your sentence can get lost.
One morning, I shot an elephant in my pajamas. How he got in my pajamas, I don't know.
Consider this one. After their death, my grandparents took the plants outside. After their death is the modifier, and we would assume the author meant the death of the plants, but the introductory modifying phrase refers to whatever immediately follows the comma. This type of error is called a dangling modifier because this leading modifying phrase is dangling where it doesn't belong, which causes it to modify the wrong noun phrase. This is exactly the kind of black and white rule that the test makers love, so let's try putting it to work on some actual digital SAT problems. Pause the video for a minute to take a look at this one. The first sentence is just a distraction, so you're not actually going to start here. Once you familiarize yourself with this exam, you'll immediately recognize this as a grammar question. So the meaning of the first sentence is irrelevant to the syntax of the second sentence. The exception to this rule is transition questions, but those are easy to pick out, and we'll cover that in a later video. Instead, the first thing we're going to read is the sentence that contains the blank. Named in 1999 as one of the greatest achievements by a US chemist in the past 100 years. So that means the next words need to be an achievement. Julian is a name, so that's out. In 1935 isn't an achievement either, so B's gone. Julian's 1925 synthesis sounds like an achievement, so we'll keep this one. The alkaloid, oh boy, physostigmine sounds like a chemical rather than an achievement. The synthesis of the chemical is the achievement, but even if you didn't pick up on that, there's a secret unwritten rule on this exam that passive voice is never in the correct answer. As a writer, sometimes I have good reason to choose passive voice as a stylistic preference, but the test makers hate it. They like a good, strong, active voice, so it's overdetermined that the correct answer must be C. Let's also take a moment to appreciate that we never actually needed to finish reading the answer choices, much less the end of this sentence containing the blank. We also don't want to waste time reading this sentence, which choice completes the text so that it conforms to the conventions of standard English. This sentence is always the same. In this next example, let's just hone in on answer choice D. Notice that it begins with an introductory modifying phrase, which means the next word after the comma must be the thing that's comparing Vietnam and Mongolia. Obviously, a number is not an entity capable of making comparisons, so we can rule out answer choice D on the grounds that it contains a dangling modifier. The moral of the story on this one is that even if the question is not primarily about subject modifier placement, it's always faster to rule out answer choices based on syntax than based on meaning. If this problem looks intimidating, check out my upcoming video on rhetorical synthesis problems to learn how to navigate these really quickly. So, how is it possible to do the opening problem in 5 seconds? Well, here's how I thought about it. This bit is useless. That refers to a person, so the next word's a name. It's A. I promised you'd be able to do one of these yourself, so here's some takeaways before I give you a chance to burn through one of these. First, skip to the sentence with the blank. Second, don't read the standard English sentence. Third, the noun phrase after the comma is all that matters. I'm going to be generous and give you 10 seconds to figure out this last problem. I'll provide the clock so you don't need to stop the video. We're looking for an explorer, and that must be Matthew, so that's all there is to it. See you in the next video.